kitchen? Where is everybody?
There's 3 devotees in the kitchen.
Who's in the kitchen?
Mukunda Madhava, Janananda, and Yash.
Yashi. Okay, so today is we're going to read from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. I believe the verse is on the board. This verse describes or discusses a little bit about the process of initiation. The word initiation in English can mean to begin, to initiate something. So in one sense, it's the same basic meaning, although today the 3 devotees sat here have certainly begun their devotional service, for sure. So today's initiation, or different kinds of initiation, which in Sanskrit language they call diksha, and in our particular line of devotees, or spiritual line, the initiation which is today is called mantra diksha. Mantra we probably all heard of, but diksha is this initiation beginning, and we'll hear more about perhaps a little deeper meaning of initiation in a minute. It's simple. The first initiation in Hare Krishna is called Nama Diksha. Nama means name, Nama Diksha. Initiation into the chanting of the name of Krishna. And Mantra Diksha today, when the devotees begin to chant in very personal, very deep mantras, which will facilitate their progress in spiritual life, if they take advantage of this opportunity. So today's verse which we're going to read particularly is about Mantra Diksha, and it's from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 15, text 108. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda,
Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta-vrinda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta-vrinda.
Panchatatmatmakam Krishnam Bhakta-rupa Swarupakam Bhakta-avataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakti-shaktikam Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahodito Gaudadari Pushpalanto Tito Tamo Shamonaro Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta-vrinda. Hare Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Staya Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Nirvasesha Srinivadi Pasti Chandra Om Jnana Tinanda Syaganam Vihasha Vihachakshuni Tamim Satsam Shri Guru Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Shapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Ramayam Vidati Svapa Mukam Kuroti Vacham Pangam Mayam Yedu Manchakalpa Krudhyasya
Sindhuveshwara, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Diksha
Diksha,
Purashaya
Purashaya,
Apeksha
Apeksha,
Nakare
Nakare,
Jiva
Jiva,
Varshe
Varshe,
Purushaya Vidi Apekshana Kare Vivaspashe Achandala Sabari Udare Diksha Purushaya Vidi Apekshana Kare Vivaspashe Achandala Sabari Udare Diksha Purushaya Vidi Apekshana Kare Vivaspashe Achandala Sabari Udare Diksha Purushaya Vidi Apekshana Kare Vivaspashe Achandala Sabari Udare Diksha Purushaya Vidi Apekshana Kare Vivaspashe Achandala Sabari Udare Ladies. Diksha. Initiation. Purushaya. Activities before initiation. Vidhi. Regulated principles. Apeksha. Reliance on. Na. Not. Kare. Does. Jiva. Tongue. Varshe. By touching. Achandala. Even to the lowest of men. Chandala. Sabari. Everyone. Udare. Delivers. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. This is from the chapter of the Madhya Lila entitled Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya offers prasadam to the Lord. Will you be okay there, Devati? You sure? You need any water or anything?
Thank you so much.
You need a chair?
No, thank you.
Enough tissues?
Oh yes, did I need time? Thank you.
Sorry. If you need to take a break, just do so. Okay? And this section is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is describing the characteristics of a Vaishnava or a devotee. And in this verse he says, in English, one does not have to undergo initiation or execute the activities required before initiation. One simply has to vibrate the holy name with his lips. Thus even a man in the lowest class, Chandala, can be delivered. And for those who don't know, there's a Chandala? What is a Chandala? Yeah, he's a Chandala, he's calling himself a Chandala. I'm not that qualified. At least they have a name in scripture. Something has said. Chandala is, generally speaking, a person who has no regulated principles. Like most people today, it's interesting, another word in this verse is sabari. It's very related to shabaras, shabari. Those persons who basically, raise animals, pigs and what have you. So, most of us, and I'm not saying all of us here today, probably come from families where we were eating effort. There was not much discrimination other than taste or custom, but not so much religious. Maybe on Friday we were not eating meat. That was our regulation. Although we were not a Christian families per se, we had this custom of not eating meat on Fridays. I don't know, in France you have this custom?
Yes.
We'd eat fish instead. And besides that, one or two wedding, births, small baptisms, some small things, purifying things, but very few intoxications and sex life. Not practically speaking, everything was more or less as it came. There wasn't very much consideration of regulation other than for health reasons or economic reasons. But not for spiritual reasons, that's for sure. So people who eat meat, drink liquor, smoke, drink everything and anything, more or less, most people in the world are in this category of Chandala. Out of the range of what's known tradition as Varna Ashram, human society which is regulated for higher spiritual purposes. Modern society is definitely not regulated for higher spiritual purposes. There's some watered down religiosity in most cases, if that, if at all. But higher religious spiritual purposes are very rare. Even if there are some, what would we say, titled as spiritual purposes, in most cases they are not connected to the origin, the original source of all. They're often the creations of some upstarts. Somebody who's got some ambition to take advantage of whatever karma they have to exploit other living entities in the name of spirituality. And even those on the path of spirituality, very, very few, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Manushanam Sahasreshu, Kasyat Yatati Siddhati. That very rare that anyone is interested in genuine spirituality. And of those who are seriously interested, very rare that anyone's interested in genuine spirituality. For those who are genuine, who are actually interested, hardly anyone knows him in truth, because to know Krishna in truth, to know the Supreme Godhead, the Supreme Absolute, the origin of everything, the ultimate goal of everything, is not an easy thing. It's not a cheap thing. We cannot possibly, with our material senses, understand that transcendental personality. Atakshu Krishna Namadina Bhavad Gayanendriya. With our material senses, because everyone in this material world has material senses, we cannot understand the transcendental nature. It remains a mystery, something beyond, indescribable, whatever. We cannot understand it with material senses. The senses have to become purified. How do the senses become purified? They have to be engaged in purifying activity. It's a simple logic. And purifying activity means activity which is not under the laws of modes of nature. Is not subjected. Well, it may be under the laws of nature, but it will be directed by the mode of goodness. In nature there are three modes: goodness, passion and ignorance. And Vedic or ancient traditional society was geared towards the mode of goodness. Most people are in the mode of ignorance. There's some passion, of course, activate them, and some kind of, let's say, perverted goodness based upon a bodily concept of life. But real goodness has another aspect. The primary aspect is to elevate the soul to the spiritual platform, to realize our actual identity, to become free of the bondage of trying to enjoy this body and this mind and this world around us. We think that that's success. That's actually the cause of suffering. To try to enjoy the material senses, to enjoy the world around us. Everything in society is geared more or less towards that. So the purpose of this movement, and maybe I'm not saying it's a monopoly, but we can say the purpose of this movement is to help to elevate us from whatever platform we're on. Whether we've come from a Chandala background, or even if we've come from a cultured situation where we've been following regulated principles of religion, the scriptures, even if we've been, practicing austerities, whatever it is, doesn't necessitate that we're actually spiritually situated. The purpose of this movement is to bring us to the spiritual platform, above bodily designation, and realizing our actual designation as Jivair, Sruphoit, Krishna, and Kyadas, that we are the eternal servants of Krishna. So this initiation is a major, even without the spiritual objective in India, nowadays we call India, but in tradition, in ancient times, in the Varna ashram system, every cultured boy would take initiation. Upanayana, he would take the second initiation. The girls would automatically be considered to be Brahmanis if they're married to a Brahmin. They would take a separate samskar or initiation. In the course of time, practically speaking, in this age that we're living in, this process has become very degenerated to the point it is by birth only, practically speaking, and the qualification is not there. There are certain qualifications of a Brahmana. We can read them in the Bhagavad Gita. Brahmana means today's ceremony is a Brahman initiation, a second initiation. Qualities of a Brahmana. And if someone wants to get the Bhagavad Gita, if there is one. Remember last time I asked, there was not one in the temple room, neither French nor English. So hopefully there's one today in the bookshop, and someone, you said the Gopal Prabhu, you can read for us the qualities which Krishna explains there of a Brahmin, one who has taken what's called second initiation, or as we said, mantra diksha. They are the most responsible persons in society to guide everyone. They're supposed to be in the mode of goodness. They're supposed to guide everyone in spirit towards the spiritual platform. So you know where that is, someone? 1844 or something.
13?
44 or something like that.
Which chapter?
18.
18.
18th chapter. In a few moments. In the Vedic society, or any society, there are different types of persons. Some are teachers, some are administrators, some are business people, some are workers. But unfortunately in our modern society it's become, let's say, people are not acting according to the actual duty of those situations. Do you find it? Like to read it?
So 1842.
42.
Samo dhamma tapa shaucham kshantir ajarameva cha jnanam vijnanam astikyam dhamma karma svabhavajam. Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom and religiousness, these are the natural qualities by which the Brahmana work.
Krishna is also going to describe the qualities of other orders of life, but these are the Brahmins, the spiritual leaders in society. They may not even be transcendental, they are in the mode of goodness, but they are guiding people, good advice, good example. They have power. They are followed by the leaders of society because they have only the interests in society in heart. They are following religious scriptures. They're very knowledgeable. They're very self-controlled. They're very tolerant. They're very austere, truthful, simple, clean, renounced, modest. So many qualities are there of the Brahmins. And there are many, many more which are listed in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the 11th canto, the 7th canto, in different places. We can see the various qualities by which the Brahmanas work. It's not what they do, but the attitude in which they work, the quality in which they work, which automatically uplifts society. It creates a favorable atmosphere for people to progress spiritually, far removed from today's situation, which is one of degradation rather than elevation. More and more degraded. It seems to be that, I don't know if there's any limit to the various ways that people can find to degrade their consciousness. It's almost, what to say? It's incredible. We won't go down that path. So the Krishna conscious movement, which Srila Prabhupada has initiated in the Western world, is practically, there are some within the modes of nature, people who are trying to act a little good, but not to take one to the spiritual platform. Very rare. If at all, it's only to a certain level of the spiritual platform, not to the actual platform, which is the constitutional situation of each and every one of us. We are all meant to be situated in transcendence on the spiritual platform as servants of Krishna in various ways. So this movement is practically the only movement which is directly offering this opportunity to all living entities, even if we are born in families of pig herders. In fact, I was practically born in a pig herder family. We were one step up or down, whichever way you look at it. In as much as my family, not my father, but the family in general, were the ones who received the pigs and distributed them to the public. That was our, we could say, our family. And by the grace, as this verse says, anyone, even though we may not have had this qualification at all, no training, no proper religious principles, and certainly no purushcharya, as this verse says, which are purifying activities which are performed before initiation. In this age of Kali, where everyone is kaloshuta sambhava, described that in this age practically everyone is Shudra, which means lowest level of consciousness of humans, or even less, practically speaking, just completely materialistic in this age of Kali. So even if in this age practically everyone is like that, so in this age which is so difficult, described Kirtana Eva Krishna Mukta Sangha Parambhajita. This age of Kali is an ocean of faults. There are so many difficulties in this age. But there is Eka Mahanguna, one good quality, Kirtana Eva Krishna. The chanting of Krishna's names, one can get all perfection. iti shodashi kamana pralipalma shadashi. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, the chanting of the holy name counteracts all the ill effects of this age of Kali. And as this verse says, the chanting of the holy name does not wait for initiation. It doesn't depend upon purushara, purificatory activities, which are normally 5 in number, and in different times and circumstances they may take different shapes. Traditionally as tapa, pondra, nam, mantra and yaja, which means austerities, various symbols, marks on the body. Some lines they put they brand it with firebrand. Pretty austere. And then nam, in our case, is the holy name of Krishna. And then mantra, today is mantra, various mantras, which help to bring us to the mode of goodness, help to develop these good qualities in mankind, which are very valuable for helping to elevate society, for changing the dynamics of society. Otherwise we act according to our conditioned nature, passionately, ignorantly, whatever it is. We have to rise above passion and ignorance. These mantras are not just to be read, they are received through a parampara, a line of spiritual masters coming from the original personality of Godhead. In fact, the mantras, some of the mantras which will be bestowed upon these devotees today, or have already been bestowed, are originally spoken by Krishna himself. For instance, the Kama Gayatri, the final mantra which will be given today, was spoken by Krishna to Lord Shiva, who spoke it to Narada Muni, who put it into the Pancharatra, the Narada Pancharatrika mantra, which is a spiritual, it's transcendental. We'll talk, maybe we won't, but maybe we'll hear more about mantras later on. So the whole process is to elevate our consciousness, not the body, consciousness, but by using this mind and body properly, the mode of goodness, developing qualities, actions which help to develop qualities, automatically it facilitates our behavior in or our progress towards the spiritual path. Self-control, austerity. And yaja is deity worship. So without taking mantra, you cannot do yaja or deity worship, practically speaking. You could do it, not fully, not properly, not completely. So this is a stage today of, I'm going to read something. We'll go back to the purport in a second, but I just want to read a few things. This is from the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam.